Well, welcome everyone to this week's Cougar Chat. I'm Father Joe, the chaplain here at Lansing Catholic.
Mr. Stolpa, I'm the Dean of Intellectual Formation. Father, what number episode is this for us?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been numbering them.
Oh, we're up to 23 followers now. I saw that.
Making waves out in the podcast world. So we've got some updates for things going on. We'll have a special interview with a guest later. And then we'll end with some Q&A at the end like we normally do. So first of all, we are in the season of Lent. How's Lent going for you, Mr. Stolpa?
Well, it's going okay.
You're wearing purple. You've got the right color on.
Well, it's funny because I go through my closet every morning and I try to match. Usually I wear my sweater and my collared shirt and my tie, and I never know what the combo is. And so last week I had the purple for Ash Wednesday, and today I've got a somewhat purple on again. But yeah, just kind of way it's coming. You're wearing black again.
Yes, always and forever.
Okay.
It is like a little simpler because sometimes you have these special dress down days or themes, and I just don't even have to think about it. I just put on the next black shirt coming down the rack in the closet.
Do you have black shorts you're ever allowed to wear, or is that not
with a clerical shirt?
Yes.
I mean, I could. I think it looks terrible, so I never do. If I'm going to wear shorts, I'll wear a T-shirt, but I'm not going to wear it with...
Father, you wear sandals with socks. So
okay. You were setting me up for that. I
actually wasn't. It just came to me as I was doing this.
All right, moving on. I don't want to talk about that anymore. It is Lent. We are doing the Angelus here at school, so we've been doing that every day at 1 o'clock on the dot. I interrupt everyone and get on the PA system. The first one I did on Ash Wednesday was a bit of a train wreck. I feel like I need to explain myself. I had this idea that I could bring a few students in and they would do the responses on the PA system with me. Well, problem was...
This is the first day when everyone was laughing in the office.
Yeah. So people that were in the classrooms, all they heard was I got in the PA, started doing the Angelus, and then started laughing and couldn't get my act together. And then it just sort of fell apart. Well, what was happening behind the scenes is I had these two students there that were going to do the responses, but they immediately started giggling, got to the first Hail Mary and they start laughing.
Prayer makes them happy.
So then I kind of took over, but then they kept standing there and kept giggling, and after a while it got to me because people can get me to laugh pretty easily. You might not know this.
No, I used to do that in the front office.
So I started laughing and then I lost it and it was a bit of a train wreck. But yesterday and the other days that I've done it since, it's been fine. Moving on, we also have students in the Rite of Christian Initiation for Adults. It's called RCIA. It's also been renamed OCIA. I know it's kind of confusing, but
what does
anyways,
that one mean?
That one means Order of Christian Initiation of Adults. Yeah, big difference. But for some reason it was changed last year, I believe, by the USCCB, the bishops. Anyways, we've got 6 students who are in the process of becoming Catholic, which is sweet. I don't
remember this from last year, Father. Do we have students entering the church from last year, or is this kind of a new thing?
It's certainly been done in the history of the high school, but last year I didn't have my act together with this stuff, so we didn't do it in-house like we're doing now. So this year we have students who are receiving formation in-house here at school, but then they receive all the sacraments at their respective parishes.
I give you immense props on that. I think it's something to be very proud of because it's cool to see them standing up there. It's cool to see them going through this journey with you and with their sponsors. Some of them are teachers.
Yep.
And it's wonderful to see that whole community gathering around them.
Yeah, it's certainly been cool to be with them through this process. One other little shout out is this is a ways out, but in June we've got Catholic Youth Summer Camp, and our school here reserves a bunch of spots for students, and it's hard to get signed up because they fill up so quickly. So if you want to have your kid go to that camp, the dates are June 23rd to the 28th. You can check your Cougar Connection, all the emails you get from the school here. There's links in those. We still have 8 slots open. So
where do they go for that?
This will be in Michigan, in Brighton.
Nice.
Their new campsite in Brighton, Michigan. But eventually those spots will be given away. They've got a huge waiting list, so we just try to keep them open to give people the chance to sign up. So claim your spot today.
Very nice. Academically, we have and we'll touch more on this next week, I think, or the week after. We have the ACT coming up for our juniors. That'll be on, I think it's March 11th, that Tuesday. That's March 11th or March 12th. I can't remember whatever that Tuesday is. And that'll be at St. Kaz. Freshmen and sophomores, you will be taking the pre-ACT. That'll be here at school in the morning, so get ready for that. In Rajinka, Father, I don't know if you've gotten a chance chance. You didn't say Mass. So
I wasn't there for this.
So we've been doing the Quiz Bowl this week, where our two of our houses compete against one another in a series. There's 15 categories, from books and movies and geography and New Testament, and the tiebreaker always comes down to LCHS staff. So it's always fun to see that one. Frassati won yesterday, and they will play the DePorres house next Wednesday for the championship.
So there's more Quiz Bowl to come.
Yes.
It's a multi-week process.
And honestly, this is the most excited I see the kids get. So I think we are just an academic school, and we just love intellectual competition.
That's great. Were you the MC for it? I heard something about that.
I was. Yes, I read the questions, and I have to put a pause on the rambunctious audience we get sometimes. Again, everyone gets really excited. They want to shout out always the correct answers. They never shout out wrong answers. So you just got to keep them in check. Bowling, I think we had bowling. So when this airs, bowling will have had regionals. So we'll update you or check the website for that. And March 1st is the deadline for financial aid applications. So we are joined today by Bishop Boyea, who is here filming a capital campaign video. Now, what I found interesting about bishops and priests, and you guys all have certain designations, right? So when I introduce you and I talk to you, it's natural to say bishop, but another thing is Your Excellency. Which one do you get more?
Oh, it's probably both, but I prefer just bishop.
Just bishop. So never, do you ever like...
You know, when I was ordained a priest, my mother wanted to know what to call me. And so I told her she could either call me the Great Poobah or Earl. She wisely chose the name Earl.
She did not a fan of the Flintstones back in the day?
She wasn't into the Great Poobah.
So you were filming the capital campaign with us today. When I look back, you're from Waterford, right? And you have had a very different role in education. So you've been a teacher, a professor, and all these things. And clearly education is very important to you. So talk a little bit about that and about your formation, especially in high school, with these high school kids around here.
Oh, I love school. I've always loved school. And I think every student should love school as much as I love school. Even Father Joe, I know he didn't like school as much as I did.
Not so much.
But you know, I think I really did. I've always loved studying, loved reading. I was not a great fan of writing. I've always had to do a lot of writing. Was never a great fan of that. But I loved reading and researching and studying. I just always liked that.
So what about your high school experience that led you to... Because you are an amazing supporter.
Well, I am a lifer. I'm a lifer, which means that I went to high school seminary.
Okay.
I'm the oldest of 10 kids. I had to escape that family. And so at the age of 13, I ran away to the seminary. And
which was a common thing back then. It's either the circus or the seminary.
Circus or the seminary. And there's not much difference between them.
Not much difference.
And no, I really enjoyed going away and being at the seminary. It was an excellent education. We had a wonderful, wonderful educational program there for high school, and it was very classical in its content, and just really learned a lot. So really liked it.
Bishop, in our diocese, we have 4 Catholic high schools, and every one of those high schools has a full-time priest chaplain, which is pretty unusual. Most dioceses I know of they don't have that. They might have a part-time at best. So what is it that motivates you to make that a priority? Because there are certainly lots of other places where you could send these priests, but you have them at
now. Do you mean, Father Joe, that I didn't know what to do with the 4 of you, and so I
didn't realize that was the only strategy involved. We've got to put them somewhere. I guess we'll put them.
I had to dump you somewhere.
So, Bishop, on our first podcast, we actually talked about how he became the chaplain here, and how I don't think he's still been told yet he's the chaplain.
No, I did eventually get the official word from you. I just heard
it took quite a while.
He's a hard man to get a hold of.
No, that wasn't it. You know, I wasn't sure.
We're still not sure.
We're still thinking about it. No. I just really believe that the presence of a priest, I'd love to have women religious as well in our high schools. I think for one thing, certainly you're praying for people, and I think that's a great presence. But I think you're modeling something as well. And without that modeling, I think the kids are deprived of a real strong element of what it means to be Catholic these days. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean everyone's going to become a priest or a sister, but you're modeling a part of the life of the church, which they need to see.
Yeah. It's certainly a crucial time in life as well. So many of these students are getting to that age when they're beginning to think more seriously about their faith. And so to have a priest around all the time in the school day, I think really is a benefit. And I certainly am very grateful for it because it's a great assignment to be here. It's good to be with all the students. And I love that this is a priority here in our diocese.
Yeah, you won't be here forever. I want you to know that.
Wait a minute. Is this breaking news here? Do we know about something?
Oh, no, not yet.
Do you ever get back into a high school like this, and do you miss the rapport you could have with the kids and
I was never a teacher in high school.
You were a teacher.
I taught in college and graduate school,
yes.
And by that point, and my students were all pretty well behaved. So I didn't.
So are ours. Don't worry.
I didn't have to put up with a whole lot. They knew that if they weren't behaved, I would have some say in the matter. And
so you said earlier that you were walking the hall that history was your favorite. What part of history is it? American history, world history, ancient history?
All my doctoral work was American history, but I really love medieval history.
Really,
that's my favorite.
The knights.
Charlemagne. Charles the Great.
Formed the third triumvirate there with his children.
Just great group.
Pepin the Short and Charles the Bald.
Well, Bishop, you keep commenting on how you're coming to the end of your time as bishop in our diocese. Just explain how that process normally goes for people that might not be familiar. At what point do you retire?
Well, I'm going to be 73 years old in a couple months, and when I'm 75, I have to submit my resignation to the Holy Father, and then he holds on to it until he names someone as my successor. At that point, when my successor is named, then I cease being the bishop of the Diocese of Lansing, and he takes over.
But he could, in theory, hold on to your resignation
please don't say that.
for years on end, right?
Please,
you could still be hanging around for a while.
Please don't say
Maybe
that.
we'll bring you back in 5 or 6 more years.
You realize, don't you? I'm the oldest of 10 kids. My brother Paul is going to retire in May, and when he retires in May, I will be the only one of my siblings who has a full-time paying job. There's something not right about this picture.
Yes. So you're ready for retirement. Do you have any plans or hopes for what to do when you're...
No, I know it's going to be a real change in my life. 1 minute you're going 90 miles an hour and in charge of everything, and the very next minute there's nothing. It's a real change.
It kind of sounds like working at a school and having a snow day. When the school is in session, it's 110% every single day, but then a snow day, it's like nothing, not a single thing.
So you're saying that I'm going to be moving into snow.
Just perpetual snow days.
Perpetual snow days.
So all that is to say, you were born outside Detroit. You worked in Columbus, and you've kind of been in this area, but you did your doctorate in Rome, correct?
No, doctorate was in Washington.
Doctorate was in Washington. Okay. So where will you retire? You're going to go somewhere warm?
I'm living in the bishop's cabin right now at the retreat center. It's not the bishop's house. So Bishop Vinke can't kick me out.
But there's no plan, so you'll go to Fort Worth, Arizona and play golf all day?
Oh, good Lord, no.
You're not a golfer, are you? Whenever you go to those golf outings, you're always on the cart driving around, not actually golfing.
I'm awful. The last time I golfed, I had played 9 holes. I had 99 shots, 4 throws, and I only sunk the ball 5 times. It was terrible.
But you know what? You got your money's worth. You're not out there shooting 35.
But those who were held up behind me did not get their money's worth.
But they got a story out of it. That's what's important.
I got the story.
So when you were in seminary, and this is kind of an odd question, and you saw education from that lens, did you ever have dreams, or do seminarians or priests ever have dreams of, hey, I have some good ideas, I could be a bishop someday? Is that ever a thing that crosses your mind?
It certainly never crossed my mind. If it does cross somebody's mind, I feel sorry for them, frankly. No, I loved being a priest. Frankly, I loved seminary work. I could have stayed in seminary work my whole life.
But you get that call, and it's just God's call.
You got to do what you're told.
What was it that Cardinal Midas said to you when he gave you the
Cardinal Midas said, the Holy Father has named you a bishop. Do you accept? And you can't say no to the Holy Father. Well, now I find out guys do say no to the Holy Father. So, my goodness, had I only known.
Yes. This would have been Pope Benedict XVI, correct?
No, I was made a bishop by John Paul I.
Okay. So then
John Paul II.
Full bishop was Benedict.
When I appointed here, it was Benedict to Lansing.
So you were in Detroit first as an auxiliary bishop.
Correct.
We're very grateful that you said yes to the Holy Father's request. You've been a very faithful bishop for all these years, and we're certainly looking forward to all the things that God has planned for you in the future.
Thank you, Father Joseph. Blessings on all of you here at Lansing Catholic.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Bishop, for joining us.
Now we're going to transition to some Q&A. This one has to do with our Dean of Social Formation, so I brought in Mr. Luya for this one. So thanks for coming, Mr. Luya.
Happy to be here.
The question is about drug tests. It says, this year seems like there have been far more than the past few years. Are there enough positive results to warrant the cost of so many tests? And what are the consequences for a positive result? So what do you say?
Fair questions. Yeah, I mean, I can speak to the last year and a half that I have been here, and certainly from last year to this year, the approach we had taken with our drug screening, drug testing has changed. And it goes back to, number one, our charter, or what we've been charged with in doing by the diocese and have held for many years also here at Lansing Catholic,
right,
is that every student is subject to a drug screening.
So part of this is not just our own decision. We're actually being held to a policy by the diocese.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And though Lansing Catholic maybe was the first to adopt such a policy, it was quickly evident among the other diocesan schools, the diocese itself, that this was a good practice.
Yeah.
So with that charter of every student should be screened at least once a year, we really had the dilemma of how to do that practically and economically.
Right.
That's what caused us to pivot from the hair sampling as the primary way, which has its advantages, but we have gone to the oral fluid method, and that has become a method that requires less staff, honestly, and the student is in the position of conducting the test primarily through proper instruction and observation.
And are they randomly selected so they don't know when they're going to be tested?
Students don't know when they're going to be tested. Again, within the efficiency of using our Rozhinkas as the primary place when Rozhinkas are together,
yep,
and choosing those Rozhinkas randomly. Generally, we do 2 Rozhinkas at a time, so anywhere between 30 to 40 students could be tested at once. So that's allowed us to actually do what we've been asked to, which is test all students and to do it randomly.
And what are the consequences of a positive result?
Yeah, so the consequences may come later. What we really try to characterize and believe that this method is an intervention-based approach, multi-tiered, in that we are screening. And if a student self-discloses at that time, when we walk them through the process and review of the policy that's expected of them as a student here, if they self-disclose that they have violated the policy at any point being enrolled in the school, or if they test positive and haven't self-disclosed, then we move from that point to a parent meeting where we discuss the selection they made in self-disclosing or not and share the results of the test. And that's a real powerful point right there. And it's certainly an encouragement to our students to say, hey, we're doing this to help you. We're doing this to give you a chance to go a different direction.
And that's got to be part of the motivation for the diocese to have that policy for all the high schools. This isn't just about us policing the students. It's really trying to be a place of intervention where we can help them make better choices, right? Because we're about not just academics, not just spiritual growth, but also having a healthy body and making good choices with how you treat your body. So
absolutely,
it seems like it's certainly worth the effort. And have you seen this be a positive interaction? I know sometimes it can be sort of a difficult situation, but hopefully there are some situations where like good is coming out of this. Would you say that happens sometimes?
That's been my experience very much, and it's been a real privilege and honor, very humbling to be in those conversations with families. Most families would be surprised upon hearing the results, but they're also very, number one, when there's a self-disclosure, families are very grateful to their children and proud of them, and it's the beginning of restoring some of that trust that may have been lost in learning about this. I also feel that there's been an appreciation towards the school to play our part in offering a system of accountability. That's very much all that we are striving to do on a practical level, which is bring something into the light and share that information with the family as they pursue the best pathway forward to helping their child move away from this.
Well, thanks, Mr. Leah. Appreciate all your input and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, that's all we've got today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check in next week for all the latest at Lansing Catholic.
I think I'm supposed to say something clever here, but I never remember to remember something. So, what do we got? What's a witty encouragement for all these people?
Have a great day.
Have a great day. Have a great day. It's out of trouble and trees.
You already said that one.